the state governors are already endorsing. Even those of opposition parties are saying, including Ademola Adeleke of this state in which we are, saying we are going to work for him. Now, we spoke with the Osun State, Luomokola Kwalimi yesterday, who said, yes, you can't rule away the Omowania Jelshe. It's our own child. Let's support him, even if the political parties are different. So that is the basis for the support. And he said, okay, maybe, or should say, the ancestral home of Mr. President, and many persons have their own, many governors, many persons from the Southwest, especially the PDP, you wouldn't see them talk ill or talk bad about, or even say it as it is, of what is happening now with the presidency of Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu. Whether he's doing well or not, it seems there's a consensus that Asiwaju is the man. That's even from the PDP Southwest. Now, imagine APC who have said, he's our man. In fact, the Senate President, Goodluck Jonathan, said he should even be the only candidate on the ballot. And by the way, it will be the choice of Nigerians to do that or not to do that. So, who stand a chance of, possibly ruffling the feathers of an Asiwaju come 2027? Because Peter Obi, if all dynamics, if all the support are garnered, if the politics is played, does he stand a chance? Or a Goodluck Jonathan, who has been president before, he has an experience of 6 years as a president. Here he was deputy or vice for some years, and he left in 2015. He has been, not really actively in the politics, but he's somebody that is sought after on the African continent, on the global stage, giving lectures, observing election, and all of those things. But times have changed. 10 years after, does he stand a chance if actually he's given the ticket to boot Asiwaju out in 2027, knowing the political terrain that we have right now and the hold that Asiwaju is having on Nigerian politics?
Okay, if I answer your question straight up, directly, I would say that for me, a Peter Obi doesn't stand any chance. And you mentioned something earlier about 6 million votes in the last election, which is very correct. But you must ask yourself the question, what led to this 6 million vote? There were a lot of ethnic votes, a lot of votes coming through the religious angle. There were also a lot of youth votes coming in there. And there was also this thought or this perception that there's a need for a shift from the old guards that we know to something fresh, something new, a Peter Obi. But for me, over time, that narrative has changed to a great extent. So you have a Peter Obi today who, for me, does not command the kind of support you had in 2023 in terms of the Christian vote, or the what they call it now, you might still have the ethnic bloc, but the Christian vote might be scattered this time around. Then now come to the aspect of parties, and then the PDP and some of the pronouncements that we've heard from them over time. Talking of Osun State PDP, talking of Oyo State PDP, all of these two states are inclined to work with the incumbent president as it stands today. Not minding whatever it is they say. And we've seen a lot of party members who will stay in their party and support other persons. An example of that is a governor, former governor, Jason Wike, who is present actually in this government today. And then you see the president also has what you call the incumbent factor. Now, the incumbent factor is a very powerful thing. You have the resources. You have the instrumentality of office. You have the military and all the paraphernalia that comes with it. You have the intelligence information and all of that. All of that counts for a lot in this coming election. So for somebody who is in power and has all this around him, it will be difficult, if not impossible, for a Peter Obi to stand any chance. For me,
all right,
a former President Goodluck Jonathan still stands a far better chance. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
The reasons are that, one, he's somebody that has been in the saddle before. Those that are promoting him know exactly what they want to bring in, and they know exactly what they're going to get. So for them, it's about what they know they want. a Peter Obi is an untested, and for most people, they might see him as, look, we are not sure of where this person is going to swing. The debate about single term, like I said earlier, is nothing that could sell, because average politician, any politician in this country, and I keep saying there has not been any precedent of a politician that spends a single term when he or she has the opportunity and is legally back to do a 2-term. And whoever is going to even think about it will start contending with this thought that if he gets into office, he could change the music. And what do they do as at that time? Because as at that time, he would have control of so many things that it would become impossible to stop it. So that's why I say that a Goodluck Jonathan still stands a better chance, a far better chance than a Peter Obi as it stands today.
All right, Mr. Gbadamosi, if you say that Goodluck Jonathan stands a better chance against Tinubu in 2027 as compared to Peter Obi, many Nigerians might actually disagree with you. And here's what I mean. Recall that in 2015, Goodluck Jonathan allegedly was betrayed by his supporters. I mean, a lot of governors who are there, who are supposed to be PDP governors, we are known to have betrayed him. That's one aspect. Number two is the fact that, of course, he also had the US, the United States, not interested in, according to him, the US actually worked against having him return to office, sending the Secretary of State to Nigeria to hold meetings with northern leaders just to make sure they push the northern agenda. You also mentioned that, fine, Goodluck Jonathan is a Christian. Peter Obi is also a Christian. So they might be having their votes being divided. But in terms of popularity, and I ask again, if Goodluck Jonathan was betrayed in 2015, Mr. Gbadamosi, what makes you so sure he won't be betrayed again in 2027? And Peter Obi, like you said, he has 6.1 million votes in 2023. What makes you think he may not even get more votes in 2027?
Okay, let's look at it this way. You see, what happened in 2015 for Peter Obi was a design that backfired for me. Now, while he was in government for that 6 years period,
Goodluck Jonathan,
Goodluck Jonathan, yes, please. He neglected a very important block of this country, which was the Southwest. As at that time, the Southwest was positioned about 15 or 16th position in terms of the hierarchy of power in the administration of Goodluck Jonathan. Now, that was a very strong selling point for the opposition. And they were very successful in doing that. They also made a very good meal of the fuel subsidy removal protest, which was also something that pushed the narrative actively. So at the end of the day, you also had the sentiment in the North then that a Goodluck Jonathan has usurped the authority, the power that's supposed to be to the North. So for them, APC presenting a Muhammadu Buhari was a very sound alternative. And all of those who were telling Goodluck Jonathan, even the North, that they want to go along with him and that they are going to support him, were actually working for a Muhammadu Buhari due to one reason. So there were a lot of interest at that time. And I also believe that as at that time too, the president and his team did not do a very good job in terms of the media, the propaganda, countering all the narratives that were put across as at that time. So that is politics. You see betrayal. You see people who will tell you, yeah, we are with you, but they are not with you. They have all left you and you are all by yourself. And it was, for me, it was late in the day when he was back in the Southwest trying to rally the Southwest to support him. It's already late in the day. So if you look at all of this, you will see that the failure of President Goodluck Jonathan in 2015 was due to a lot of factors, which for me we had self-made and which were also things that were just pure political blunders. But at this time, people who are pushing forward the narrative of a Goodluck Jonathan have a very clear agenda. The agenda they have is not for him to come and turn Nigeria into El Dorado. No, they just need a person to fill in the gap for the next 4 years. They do not want a Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and they want to see how they shape him out, and then get somebody who will fill in the gap for another 4 years with a guarantee that by the end of that 4 years, he will be out and the power will come to the north. That is the bottom line as it stands today.
All right.
So talking about whether the people who are going to support him know the game they are playing, and that is the basis for which they are supporting a Goodluck Jonathan.
You're talking about northern Nigeria now, right? You're talking about people from the north.
Yes, most of them from the north, yes.
All right. Now, as we cross home now, two things for me, and I will ask it in just a question. You talked about how that 6.1 million votes in 2023 was garnered by Mr. Peter Obi, the youth movement, the ethnic voting, the religious sentiment. One will say those sentiments, they have not really left, are still there, actually. And if actually it worked for Peter Obi, it worked for Bola Ahmed Tinubu as well. Because there is the Omowania Gyoshe, Omeni Oshedi Bebere, translate that to say, this is our own. Let's support our own. Even if we won't do anything, it's our own. The same way it worked, why Peter Obi, swept, almost the entire Southeast and, got some votes in the North Central, a lot of those things. Now, it worked for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as well. When people said, he's a Yoruba man, the Southwest is our own. Then it got, it made sway in part of the Northeast, and all of those things worked for him. So if it worked for Peter Obi in 2023, have those sentiment left? Because the same sentiment in a kind of way worked for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's number one. Number two is this. For Goodluck Jonathan, if actually this rumor is true, and possibly if he will, a big if, the thing is, when he contested in 2015, you talked about some of the blunders, political miscalculations, especially the media, the propaganda, while the opposition party, APC, took the narrative, changed it, shaping it at the time. But that was under a much better and bigger PDP. Right now, he's been running with the PDP. Which PDP are you talking about now? I think possibly the only PDP, the biggest of them, if I may say, respectfully speaking, maybe Bukola Saraki. Is the biggest guy right now in that place. What do you have? Governors have left, ministers, you don't even have any. Governors of the same PDP have said, this is who we are going to vote for in Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So which PDP is going to field Jonathan? Won't it be a failure? In fact, some will say by 12 p.m. the election is over. You don't believe so?
I think you've captured it succinctly, really. You see, for me, like it is said in Yoruba land, you say things like that's the way I perceive it. A Goodluck Jonathan, like we have said, putting him side by side a Peter Obi is still a better option. But at the end of the day, if you look at his chances against the incumbent, it's more as if you want to bring him in the fray to just have a semblance of a contest. Because for me, the PDP as it stands today, like I mentioned at the beginning of this program, is seriously decimated. The PDP doesn't have, yes, it has governors, but most of those governors, are they really working for the party? Are they all not working for their personal interest? And even the interest of what they believe in the future is going to benefit them more. So at the end of the day, the PDP for me is still a party that, as of today, should be rebuilding as much as possible and as quickly as possible. But we can still not throw away the baby. We can't throw away the baby away with the bathwater. The PDP would do well to feed a strong candidate. And if they do that, it will also be a credit to the party as
Mr. Babatunde, if I may come in here, sorry, sir, Mr. Badamasi, don't you think that big candidate should be Peter Obi? Because now, if the decimated, status of the PDP, Obi still have a large chunk of his obedient movement. And so if he can convince them to come over, even if he doesn't have them like he used to, don't you think that stands a chance than a Goodluck Jonathan that doesn't have that movement? He doesn't have governors, he doesn't have the party, just his own name.
Okay.
How far can that go?
Okay, two things we have said here. You see, we mentioned the aspect of the party and who stands a chance with as concerned the party primaries. As concerned election and raking in the vote, I think, yes, Peter Obi, yes, might stand a good chance to bring in the vote. Yes, but the question you ask yourself is, and I know maybe some of the listeners and maybe yourself must have seen this interview that was aired on Channels Television not too long ago, where a personality was saying something about Peter Obi being somebody who built a brewery and all of that, and that the North will not be willing to support such a person. Now, these sentiments are just a snippet of what the kind of sentiment you have all over the North. And let me also take you through to what is happening in areas like Southern Kaduna, areas like Plateau, Benue, Taraba. The APC is making a lot of inroads into those areas already. And let me give you the example of Southern Kaduna. Southern Kaduna has been peaceful for as long as this government has been in power. Southern Kaduna has remained quiet and peaceful. That is one. Two, Southern Kaduna recently was given a university. A university was set up in Southern Kaduna, a federal university for that matter. Now, you now take it further. A Plateau State has gotten one of his sons to be the chairman of the APC. Now, if you link Plateau and Southern Kaduna, then you link it to Nasarawa, Taraba. These are the belts and axes where the Labour Party had quite some pull in the last election. And then the APC is already making a lot of inroads into these areas. And you're having people galvanize for the APC in these areas. So for me, really, what you had in the last election might just be what happened then. This time around, it will be a really different ball game. Right. So if for me, I do know that a Goodluck Jonathan would be sold to the people of all of these places as a much more favorable candidate, as a much more welcoming candidate who they feel that they can manipulate easily. Right. Peter Obi is not that kind of a person. All right, and it's more of an uncertainty to most of the political leaders that are up there.
Okay, before time, but just before we go, I would like to ask you this. You have said it, and like I also said during the introduction, Northern Nigeria, since former President Goodluck Jonathan has a surer path, as a guarantee to ensure that power will come back to them in 2031. And earlier on, I talked about betrayal. Now I'm trying to flip the coin. Let's flip the coin now. Now we have a southern candidate. The incumbent, rather, is from the south. Talked about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's been having support from a lot of people in the north. So talking about flipping the coin in terms of betrayal, here's what I mean. Don't you think at this point, Northern Nigeria, even those who are seemingly supporting Tinubu now, may just betray him and support Jonathan simply because they have the guarantee that Jonathan will spend only 4 years and they will get their 8 years in power come 2031?
Okay. What you have just asked happened in 2023. How do I mean? You had a former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, who was singing the song that you don't need a person from Southern Nigeria to be president of Nigeria. What you need is a Northerner who has built bridges across. Okay? So, and when you look at the election trend in 2023, you will see that a number of states in the north swinged towards the Atiku Abubakar camp. And why was this? The sing song was that, look, I'm a Northerner. You know, people will play all this kind of card. Yes, there could be betrayals. Yes, I do know that the incumbent president is definitely not oblivious of this fact. And anybody who knows politics well will know that when you study the pattern in the last election, and you must start to look at it in the light of, there's a tendency of a repeat of this. So what do you do to mitigate that? And I believe that this president would have been looking at how to do a lot in order to mitigate and ensure that such a thing that happened in 2023 does not happen again. Yes, betrayal is part of politics, and there's nobody that can take that away. Today, you smile with somebody, tomorrow is up against you. And those are the facts of politics.
Interesting conversation here. Mr. Isaac Ababatunde Badamos. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, a politician, public affairs analyst, giving us his 2 cents on the latest development of having the name of Goodluck Jonathan thrown up as far as the election of 2027 dynamics is concerned. Thank you, sir. We wish you a very happy weekend.
Thank you very much, Femi. Thank you, Emeka. Do have a great weekend.
Thank you for joining us.
These will be the size today of, as we say, interesting days ahead.
Absolutely.
These are early days. Early politicking have started, and Nigerians should shine their eye, and we help them to shine their eye. But before we go, something untoward happened at a tarmac, in Abuja, when a big wig, Wasiu and the Marshal, King Wasiu and the Marshal, probably called one had a squabble. There have been allegations from the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria of him being unruly, of him being, not cooperating, and that you have it there, and, holding. Some of it, by the way, his lawyers have said, has thrown up their own narratives as well to say, no, they just want to just embarrass the man.
That was before the video came out.
Yeah, all of those things. And all of a sudden, you saw the man blocking. In fact, there is this particular video, I'm not sure if actually we have it now, of when the aircraft was trying to swerve, to just move. And, the man was, and you could see him being prevailed upon, possibly being begged. You can see that particular one there. The man kept going. I think you can see. Yeah. He kept going into the face of the aircraft. And before know what's happening. In fact, the pilots, the professionals, they have been slammed for not,
they've had their licenses suspended.
Yeah, suspended before because of what you can see the man they are blocking. Who does this?
That's a Superman, Femi. Come on.
Who does blocking an aircraft?
That's a Superman.
This is not the way to Ganusi. Somebody said about a plane lane. It's more vehicles and Okada that
in Lagos,
it's horrible.
In Lagos,
and the professionals have been slammed for not observing protocols and put other people's lives at risk. Even the Wasiu.
It reminds me of what these guys do in Lagos, where they stand in front of the bus. Buses, we call down
those last mile guys to say you will not go.
They just stand in front of it.
This is a craft. This is the Mayegun of Yoruba land. That's the way K1, and he's the Olori Omoba killer of Ijebu land. He occupies a very vantage. He's the head of all the princes in Ijebu land. And why is he doing this? Even if he's right and he has, a good way, you can't.
There are better ways to channel. Yes, there are better ways to channel your grief. And apart from that, he was actually trying to break the law, carrying a liquid, allegedly alcohol.
And he's on the tarmac. Who blocks an aircraft?
Now, his lawyers were trying to justify that until Festus Keyabo actually released, more footage.
His lawyers have said, they will follow the law and all of those
things.
Now
he's been banned for 6 months anyway.
He's slammed, no flying for whatever. Femi Josmane will go, but then I will allow you to have sound bites of that particular video as well.
Absolutely. And Mika Daniel, thank you so much for staying with us all through the week. It's been a pleasure having you join us. Don't forget, you can always check out these conversations on our social media handles on Western Spring Television. Mika Daniel is my name. Do have a fantastic weekend.
Fabulous weekend.
Good morning.